part of California history, we're going to look at Chapter 2. I'm Professor Roger Cohen, your professor, and we're going to look at the rise of the Southern Pacific. The Southern Pacific Railroad was in its most prosperous days, was the most influential company in California. Founded in 1865, the railway connected two main cities, San Francisco and San Diego. By 1868, it extended its routes to New Orleans. In 1885, its routes spread over the Central California Pacific Railroad, which was the western half of the nation's first transcontinental railroad. So it started to grow quickly by 1885. With the help of Southern Pacific, Pacific Electric has become one of the largest intercity electric rail networks. Southern Pacific also has a considerable passenger train lane in California, most notably the daytime running lights between Los Angeles and San Francisco. Maybe you've taken that train. The construction of the Southern Pacific Railroad marks a turning point in United States history and a moment of national unification. It was a realization of manifest destiny. The 6-month trip to California from other parts of the continent was reduced to only 2 weeks. In just a few years, this line helped to develop the western parts of the continent through European-American settlement, business and trade development, and the end of the indigenous life in these parts of the continent. The Southern Pacific Railroad brought the west part of the country to the world and the world to the west because it helped California to move from a once isolated place to a significant economic and political force and helped lead to the state's rapid growth. It also made travel more affordable. If travel across the United States was accounted for in today's dollars, it'd be $20,000 in today's dollars. The use of the railroads allowed for much cheaper traveling. Furthermore, it helped to develop postal traffic. By 1872, the first mail-order catalog was started by Aaron Montgomery Ward. The impacts of construction of the railways were also negative. During the construction of the railway, a large part of the forest was destroyed. The wilderness was no longer inaccessible. The railroad establishments made it possible for hunters to travel westward and kill millions of buffalo. Also, during this time, racial conflicts increased. At this time, we have the growth of the Big Four. Theodore Judah, a civil engineer who designed California's first railroad, promoted Route 41, passing through Nebraska, Wyoming, Utah, Nevada, and California. His opponents noted the considerable obstacles to his proposal, the most serious of which was the Sierra Nevada mountain range. The first people to agree to give the needed support to Judah's idea were Huntington and his partner Mark Hopkins, dry goods merchant Charles Crocker, and wholesale grocer, soon-to-be governor Leland Stanford. These backers would later become known as the Big Four. Huntington and his partners paid Judah to do necessary research. During the presentation of the idea to Congress in October 1861, Judah used maps from his research. Many members of Congress opposed the idea of building a railroad because of the high cost, especially during the Civil War. However, President Abraham Lincoln, an avid supporter of the railroad, agreed. On July 1, 1862, Lincoln signed the Pacific Railroad Act, approving $32,000 to inland and government bonds per mile of the railroad to two companies, the Central Pacific Railroad and the Pacific Rail Union. Immediately after this act, conflicts arose between Judah and his business partners. In October 1863, Judah traveled to New York City in search of investors to cover his Sacramento partners. He did not survive the trip. The Big Four replaced Judah with Samuel Montego, and construction teams in the Central Pacific began building the line east of Sacramento. Over 3 years, 80% of the Central Pacific workforce was made up of Chinese workers, as they proved to be a critical factor in advancing the line across the Sierra Nevada. The Chinese workers accomplished amazing and dangerous feats no other workers would or could do. I'd like to thank you for turning in to the rise of the Pacific Railroad from Chapter 2.